Arbitration has attained a very significant importance lately, and world over there is a trend of international arbitration centers. With the CPEC in Pakistan, what we have realized, and the legal fraternity and the business community, that there is a need of a very good international arbitration center here in Pakistan. But the ingredients those are required for an arbitration center are good arbitrators. The arbitrators who have got training, they know how to conduct those arbitration centers. They are connected with the international rules and regulation, and they are trained by those who are running and been part of the international arbitration center. This is the area that we lack, and today we are going to discuss this in detail with the two very important personality, and one of my guests is Giorgio Colombo. He is a professor at Nagoya University. Originally, he is from Italy. He is a full professor there, and he is a professor of commercial arbitration. And joining him is Haman Sarfraz Chetta, who is doing LLM in the same university, and his specialty again is commercial arbitration. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Almas, for having me today again with you and discussing on the very, very important topic of international commercial arbitration with special regard to Pakistan. I'm really excited to talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a great pleasure to have this occasion.
Right. Tell us the importance of arbitration in the current day. As I said earlier, the world over there is a more need and demand, and there is a more trust in the arbitration. And when it comes to the commercial arbitration, especially where the countries are engaged with each other, the bigger corporations, they want to do business in multiple countries. The trust they have in arbitration, the commercial arbitration, is it has enhanced manifold as compared to the local courts.
Yes, indeed. So international commercial arbitration is still the primary form of dispute resolution for multinational companies involved in international business. Whenever companies are dealing internationally, one of the most complex issues to solve in international business contracts is decide the jurisdiction, which court has jurisdiction in case of troubles.
True.
Because neither party is very comfortable in going to litigation in the other party's country because of language, because of procedure, and so on. So arbitration, as you correctly said, gives the opportunity to have a neutral forum where parties can solve their disputes. They can choose the place, they can choose the language, they can appoint arbitrators. So it's extremely useful. But at the same time, arbitration has some challenges because arbitration is a highly technical procedure, which means that the knowledge of arbitration is spreading, but is not as widespread as the knowledge of litigation for a domestic lawyer.
Okay.
So it is our belief that it's very important to develop an arbitration culture, because if lawyers are knowledgeable about arbitration, they can assist their clients with confidence, they can engage in the procedure, and they can benefit from the tools of this specific form of dispute resolution completely. Whereas if there are asymmetries in the knowledge, that's a problem, because a more skilled international party can take advantage of the situation through the better knowledge of arbitration.
In Pakistan, usually, and the countries, the third world countries like Pakistan, actually, when it comes to the arbitration, they say it is blend of justice and charity. You know, most of the organization at times, they will look for an arbitrator, not paying them their rightful fee and all that. And this is one of the reason the local disputes, they were not referred for the arbitration, and the legal fraternity, they were reluctant to be part of such procedure. Reason being, they were not proper remuneration for that actually. Do you think there should be a proper promotion of arbitration with the government, telling them those who are trained, those who have got the knowledge, those who have got the expertise, there should be some arbitration center, and they should be hired properly to deliver where they can have some returns also?
Yes, of course. So this is the point. Arbitration exists in many different forms. There is also domestic arbitration. In some countries there is labor arbitration. But international commercial arbitration, the one employed for cross-border disputes, is a highly technical procedure and require a very specific expertise. Many developing countries or recently developed countries invest a lot in arbitration because it's a very good message for international investors. You can tell investors, if you come to our country, don't worry. You can have a high quality arbitration, the same you will have in a very advanced jurisdiction. So it's very important that even the government supports these activities because it can create synergies between the legal profession and the attractiveness for investors and overall the economic strategy. So, as you mentioned in your very kind introduction, I already had the pleasure to visit Pakistan, and I delivered some lectures about arbitration to district court judges. And I see the government is now interested in this procedure because now Pakistan is the target of a lot of foreign investment. And the Belt and Road Initiative will probably bring even more investment to Pakistan. And international companies investing in Pakistan may want to go to arbitration. But if the country is not prepared to have very good arbitration centers with very good arbitration expertise, those companies most likely will want to arbitrate in different countries. And that's a missed chance for both the government and the legal profession because Pakistani lawyers could benefit about the handling of arbitration in the country.
Right, right. When you say that many international countries keen to come here in Pakistan, if we look in the recent past, we have seen a lot of investment coming from Middle East, China, and Europe, and America also. And if we talk about an international arbitration center here in Pakistan, Professor, you have visited Pakistan 2019, where you got a chance to meet the current Chief Justice of Pakistan also. How do you assess the local legal fraternity? Do they have the ample knowledge, training, expertise to be part of any international arbitration center here in Pakistan? As you rightly said, that this is a very technical area where you need, you do not need to be good with litigation, you need to be good with arbitration. A specific kind of training is required. Do you think our people are well equipped, or they need people like you to come more frequently here and train them?
It's a very good question. I think that given the very long tradition the legal profession has in Pakistan, and given the fact that many Pakistani colleagues have a very strong international expertise, and they also speak perfect English, I think that even if the expertise may still be made stronger, I think the potential is clearly there. And when I visited Pakistan, I was very impressed by the desire to know more. At the beginning, I have to tell you that people in my class were a bit skeptical, maybe, because I didn't want to be perceived as a foreigner coming to Pakistan to teach things.
Right.
The Pakistani legal community is very established. There are excellent professionals. So the message I wanted to convey, and in the end I was successful, is like, let's cooperate on this kind of training. Because in any country, the expertise about arbitration is limited to a restricted number of lawyers. So it is not a problem, it's a country-specific problem. It's a general problem we face in arbitration training.
Right. You mentioned about decolonizing arbitration while we were talking earlier. What do you mean by decolonizing arbitration?
So, thank you. This is a key question for me. So, in Nagoya University, we established this research unit, which is called Decolonizing Arbitration, how to promote fair and culturally sensitive use of arbitration. Because many times arbitration is seen as a tool from multinational companies from extremely developed countries, somehow to exploit countries with natural resources or recently developed countries. And this is unfortunate, but we had examples. For example, there are famous cases with Australian investors in the mining sector in Pakistan, and the arbitration went in favor of them. Our position is that arbitration is a tool. Per se is not something bad, but it needs to be used together on an equal footing. So we would like, our purpose is to cooperate with our friends and colleagues in some countries in order to create training programs or joint publications in order to spread this arbitration culture. And so far we have a network which includes Cambodia, Mongolia, Pakistan, Vietnam, Thailand, and Malaysia, and we will work with partners in these countries in order to promote this use of arbitration.
Hamid, now coming to you, you being a student in this university and being taught by the professor himself, tell me about the commercial arbitration. Why did you choose this area, and why specifically, as in Pakistan, the chances are pretty meager. Not any international arbitration center over here. What do you see being, is it futuristic? Will it hold good for you coming to Pakistan ultimately?
Thank you for this wonderful question. I would like to tell you, like, I have chosen this topic with special my love towards my country, because when I practiced in Pakistan for 5 years, I saw there is no the Center of International Commercial Arbitration in Pakistan, and especially the Arbitration Act 1940 in Pakistan, that having no clause for the international commercial arbitration. It's totally a domestic arbitration law, which gives us the clauses for the procedure of domestic arbitration or ad hoc arbitration. So the world where this business is happening today, they are having these unilateral model law type of laws where we have a lot of clauses for international commercial arbitration. So I see the need to have such kind of laws in Pakistan, and especially the International Commercial Arbitration Center in Pakistan. That can only be possible if the young lot of lawyers who have future in Pakistan, who are going to practice for the next 3 or 4 decades in Pakistan, and now our government and the region, like due to the Chinese, they are moving towards the regional connectivity. So Pakistan is the first base for that connectivity, like due to the China-Pakistan economic corridor. So when we have this China-Pakistan economic corridor, we need that laws who support these kind of investments in Pakistan. If we want international investors from across these 65 countries of Belt and Road, we need laws where they can have protection for their investment. So currently Pakistan don't have any such laws. You can see like some of our cases in arbitration, the situation in Pakistan in judiciary, we don't have like the laws where judiciary can take stand for the arbitral award. We have the New York Convention, but there are no such clauses where we can differentiate between the domestic awards and international awards, where we can make difference. So I choose this topic to study about this international commercial arbitration in detail, and then that I would like to apply that coming back to Pakistan.
Right. Thank you very much. But one very important thing, Professor, that you mentioned about this network. This network is very important. And I believe if there are efforts made here in Pakistan, it is going to pay dividends to those who have expertise and those who are good players, the already big international arbitration center. The need is more training here in Pakistan, and the way the previous trainings were conducted with the Oxford universities, if any international players, they want to come here in Pakistan, I believe that the Just1 TV, with our penetration with the bar councils and all that, we together can play an important role to conduct these kind of workshops, training, online trainings. And do you think any possibility?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I am very optimistic about the possibility to create synergies, and I appreciate your open-minded attitude towards this project. That means a lot to me, because again, the key issue is cooperation. There are many institutions which unfortunately come with this idea that they should unilaterally teach to colleagues. But this is kind of insulting for many people. I had the pleasure of teaching to district court judges. District court judges are very respected people in Pakistani society.
They are.
You cannot treat them as your university students because they will get offended. You need to respect their role and their knowledge and work together. So this kind of cooperative attitude, I think, is really the key to understand and establish a better cooperation.
Right. Thank you very much for your time, Professor. We really appreciate and look forward to talking to you more frequent.
Thank you very much, and I also look forward to cooperating with you in the future.
It was a great discussion talking to Professor Giorgio Colombo directly from Japan, and the way he emphasized the need to create these international commercial center here in Pakistan. It's a need of the hour. We keep emphasizing it, and we have some very potential people here in Pakistan who are determined, who are working. But perhaps we need more efforts on part of the government, the law ministry, and the people and the friends like Professor Giorgio who are willing to cooperate and help us. I believe this can go a long way, and a new opportunities opening for the legal fraternity too, because this is something which is global phenomenon, and the earlier we learn it, the earlier we get adapt to it, the better it is going to be for us. Thank you very much.